Ladies and gentlemen, our forum and live stream will begin in 10 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, our forum and live stream will begin in 5 minutes. Please find your seats. Candidates, please make your way to the front and take your seat. Our forum and live stream will begin in 2 minutes.
It's 7 o'clock. Thank you for all being so quiet there. I don't have to yell. Good evening and welcome. Welcome to the historic Westminster Grange Hall and the heart of Westminster. I'm going to start a little bit out of order with a huge thank you to Tom Quinn. He's the owner of Battle for Heaven. He's so generously provided us with the sound system, the cameras that are doing the live streaming, and our digital timing system that you'll see here in just a little bit. Please give him a big round of applause. We'd like to welcome our online viewers, candidates. If you've got supporters out there watching now, you can wave to them now. This forum is being live streamed, and it can be found on our website, theheartofwestminster.org, and is being recorded so you can watch it at a later time. I'll give you a quick demonstration of the timing system. Tom, could you give me 2 minutes? This event takes a lot of volunteer effort and donations. We need to thank our co-sponsors, Observatory Heights, Homeowners Association. We've got some members in the back here. Please raise your hands. Thank you. The Adams County League of Women Voters are here and is our guest moderator. A little history about the Westminster Grange Hall. This organization received our charter in 1910, 1 full year before the city was incorporated as Westminster. We've been an active community organization since that time in the same exact building. Everything important that happened in the early city happened here. The city council met here. This was the voting precinct. This was a center for performing arts with plays and talent shows. The community met here for potluck dinners. This organization began the hometown Christmas tradition that's across the street there, with early members Doc and Laura Shipman planted that tree, and it's over 100 years old. So a lot of history has taken place in these walls, and today we're going to make a little bit more history. The Heart of Westminster, our organization, was started in 1982 by local involved residents who shared a passion for this community. They included a former mayor, council members, state representatives, and prominent citizens. The vision was to create an organization that would celebrate the area's 150 years of rich history by preserving its unique character. We do this by promoting our neighborhood, community, and businesses, informing our residents, business owners, and visitors of local issues, events, and resources, advocating to address local concerns and facilitate interaction and good communication with local, county, and state elected representatives. We continue to do this with volunteers, memberships, and most importantly, donations. If you've enjoyed this event and other events, consider a membership and/or a donation to help support these efforts. All right, just a quick overview of the forum guidelines. The candidates are seated from left to right, your left to right, in the order that they appear on the combined Adams County and Jefferson County ballots. Candidates will answer questions from the moderator only and will not directly engage other candidates. We have 3 minutes for self-introduction, and the timer will start. You can see how it's counted down there, and it'll end up at 0. Once it hits 0, then the numbers will flash if the candidate goes over. Audience questions. We've passed out cards, yellow cards here, and we've got quite a stack here of question cards. All the questions come from the audience. And what we do is we'll compile those question cards after the fact. Any questions that didn't get asked during this forum tonight, we'll compile them, and it'll be published on our website and given back to the candidates so that they can answer them after the fact. Closing remarks will be 1 minute. The general questions are a 1-minute response, with the timer working the same way. As audience members, we would ask that you be respectful of the moderator, the candidates, and your fellow attendees, and please refrain from applause during the forum, as there will be time at the conclusion. Any interruptions will limit the number of questions that we can get to tonight. The acoustics in the hall are great, so please avoid any conversations in the main entryway or the hallway or the kitchen. The sound really carries. We can hear everything you say. If you need to have a conversation, please go outside. So it is my pleasure to welcome our moderator today. She is the voter chair of the Adams County League of Women Voters, Marge Ennis.
Thank you, and good evening to you all, and welcome to the District 50 Board of Education candidate meeting for fall 2023. I am the voter service chairman for Adams County League of Women Voters, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about League of Women Voters. We were formed in 1920. Our purpose was to inform women who had just received the right to vote. And we tried to tell them about everything on the ballot, and as we do today, and we're still doing it. And so that's our history and our mission. And here we are again. So, okay. We'll start out, the first question will get 2 minutes per person, and the others will be 1 minute answers. And we'll start here with Mary Beth and then go down this way. This time, we might change that. What motivated you to run for the school board at this point in time? Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Hi, I'm Mary Beth Murphy. I've been a Westminster resident for 34 years, and my children attended our public schools. I was an educator for 35 years, the first 15 as a vocational business teacher. They now call that career and technical education. And then a math teacher for 20 years. I worked in Mapleton Public Schools for 32 years and retired this last May. For the last 20 years in Mapleton, I was a Teachers Association leader. I now work as a UniServe director for the Teachers Associations in District 12, District 14, Mapleton, and 27J. Because of my experience in education, I have a unique understanding of the important role teachers and staff play in student success. I believe every child is entitled to a free, high-quality public education, and that guaranteed education must focus on each individual student's needs. No one pathway is appropriate for all students. Our students must be prepared for their future when they graduate high school, whether that's an apprenticeship, a trade school, a community or four-year college, or immediate employment. I also believe that safe and supportive schools require a partnership with parents and the community and high-quality educators and staff who are appropriately trained and invested in their school system. As a school board member, I will fight for safe and secure schools, retention of our amazing, experienced teachers and staff, environments that value every child's individual needs, and programs that offer our students numerous educational opportunities and encourage them to reach for their dreams. I would so appreciate your support and your vote. Thank you.
Okay, the next one will be Charles. And
Hi, I'm Charles Gallegos. I'm running for the WPS Board of Education for the same reason we all are, whether we believe WPS has momentum or whether we believe it's stagnant and unsatisfactory. We share the same goal. That is to make WPS the destination district. Where we differ is how we plan to achieve those goals. I'm running because as a parent of I have 2 children in this district, and sometimes I see that disconnect that exists between the schools and the parents. And I believe our teachers, the unsung heroes that help mold our students, need all the support we can offer, which includes strengthening the teachers' union. And as a former union member, I support all unions. I believe my ideas are the best way to move WPS forward. I believe in the potential of the competency-based system, which, when implemented properly, I support accountability through standards, and I believe we build trust through transparency and dialogue, not passive aggression and misinformation. I support community engagement, collaboration, and forming partnerships. I am a product of this district, starting at Baker Elementary, then to Hotchkins, finally graduating as a Westie Warrior. Similar to many students in WPS, I faced many challenges and endured lots of failure. Through my failures, I found success. I was the first in my family to attempt higher education. Although I arrived at the university level academically unprepared, I overcame this challenge and finished undergrad with the double bachelor's degree. And it was here where I learned how to study and think, but also where I learned perseverance. The next stop on my journey, nuclear power and the U.S. Navy. This is where I learned sacrifice, leadership, and accountability, and the importance of teamwork and diversity, which I believe strengthens us. The next stop, my doctorate. This is where I reinforce my belief in the value of caring not for myself, but caring for others, especially those less fortunate than me. I'm blessed that I'm able to use all these experiences to change the lives of others every day, and it will take every one of these skills, along with parental and community support, to improve this district. It needs to happen from the bottom up, not from the top down, and it needs to be done collaboratively. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, Audrey.
Hi, my name is Audrey Llanos, and I would just like to thank the Heart of Westminster for hosting us and for the League of Women Voters for moderating tonight and for the Grange for letting us be able to use this wonderful building. I have lived in the Sherrillwood neighborhood for 9 years now, and I currently have 3 kids in the district. I have one at Sherrillwood, one at Shaw, and one at Westy. All of my kids also participate in different activities throughout the district. They participate in athletics, art shows, just a multitude of things that we always have going on. My husband is a volunteer coach for the Westy Futures program. He coaches basketball. And so we every day see this district on several different levels, at several different times, at several different schools, and we love it. We have had an absolutely fantastic experience within the district, and I want to be part of the board to keep that momentum going. I think we are on a good path. I think that having leadership that sees all the great things that we do is important to keep us going. And that's why I'm running. I also am running because I feel like I represent this community. Although I'm not from this community, I share a lot of the same background as this community. I have lived my life on and off food stamps and food banks until I was about 23 years old-ish, somewhere around there. And I'm also the first person not only to graduate from college, I was the first person in my family to graduate from high school. And so this experience reflects what a lot of our families go through and what a lot of our students go through. And whenever I walk into a room, I bring my history with me. I can only show up as who I am, and I'm going to represent our students and our families and make sure that our district is doing great things.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next is Anthony Cisneros.
Thank you. Good evening. First off, I'd like to thank God for giving me this opportunity to speak in front of you tonight. My name is Anthony Cisneros. I'm a father. I'm sorry. My name is Anthony Cisneros. I'm first off a man of faith, a son, a brother, a husband, and a father of 3 blessings, AJ, Abram, and Briseis. My son Abram was gifted and born with Down syndrome and currently attends Catholic school with my daughter. My eldest attends Colorado Sam Academy. I grew up in this community. I grew up a block from Hodgkins Middle School, a few blocks east of Westminster High School. I can still remember the marching band, the announcer, and the sporting events in the high school, you know, the cheering every Friday night. I still hear those same sounds in my current home, which is a few blocks north of Westminster. This is my home. I enjoy coaching Westy Little League. The past 2 summers, I have coached the coach pitch and a t-ball team, 2 teams. I serve on a national nonprofit for Down syndrome called DSDN. I have a bachelor's degree from MSU Denver, and over the last 7 years, I have served as the assistant controller for the MSU Denver Foundation. I ran for this very same seat 12 years ago. Yes, I lost. Have I ever wanted to run again? No. People have asked me if I would ever run again, and I just laugh and tell them no. But when my son was denied enrollment at school, mind you, where he had been attending the same school the past 2 years with his brother, well, it played with my heartstrings. How do you look at your 2 boys and tell them they cannot go to school together based on the lack of resources? I'm running for the school board to create policy that helps create budget-centric resources for these students. But I can tell you one thing I won't be doing. I won't be approving multi-million-dollar contracts for current board members like this current board has been doing. A huge conflict of interest. I'm running on 3 principles: accountability, building trust, and community, ABC. Thank you, and I hope I can earn your vote in November. Thank you.
Thank you. Christine Martinez.
Hello, and thank you everyone for coming tonight. A big thank you to the Heart of Westminster for putting this on and the League of Women's Voters for being here. I would also like to wish my husband happy 10-year anniversary today. What an amazing one it's been, and we have a lot more fun to come. So, my name is Christine Martinez, and I am the daughter of 2 former teachers, Ken and Kathy Hyatt. I grew up in the district, and I currently have my son enrolled with WPS. I was elected by acclamation in 2019, and it has been such an honor to serve on the board for the last 4 years. And what a challenging time. 5 months after being sworn in, COVID hit. We had our first Zoom meeting that Friday, March 13th, where we canceled school for 2 weeks and ended up canceling school for the rest of the year. We pivoted to making sure we distributed food, school supplies, initiatives, computers, anything we could think of to help our students weather this storm. And it was stressful, and we did well. We opened our doors in 2020 and brought our students back. We partnered and we set a ton of different expectations. There were limited interactions, there were masks, there were cohorts, there were quarantines, there were behavioral adjustments. All of this was essential for our students, and I'm so glad that we did it. We ended 2021 with 12 extra days of learning and tutors to help keep our students or catch them up from the learning loss that occurred, which is a focus we are still on. As COVID has ended, as a board, we have been able to pivot. We're expanding our career technical education programs and enhancing RANM to build that out, partnering with industry so our kiddos have an opportunity to find a financially rewarding career outside of a four-year college. We're focused on our amazing teachers. We are the highest paying starting salary in the state, and as part of the negotiation team, I plan to keep it that way. Our teachers are essential, and our final focus is safety. Mental health and physical safety is huge for our students. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Brenda.
Buenas tardes y muchas gracias a todos por estar aquí. Mi nombre es Brenda Marlene Gallegos y estoy nerviosa, pero estoy muy contenta de estar aquí. Mi familia nos movió para acá de California cuando tenía 5 años. Mi familia, mis padres son de Chihuahua y mi mamá es de Belisario Domínguez y mi papá es del Paso, Texas. Nos movieron para California y de California nos movieron aquí a Colorado. Yo me gradué de la Montbello High School en el 2009. Soy una dueña de una clínica de visión y manejo otras clínicas de visión por las ciudades. Yo estoy aquí, yo soy una madre de 2 hijas que están escritas en este distrito. Tengo una niña en el Tennyson Knolls y tengo otra niña en Westminster, at Westy High. Yo estoy haciendo esto porque quiero ser una voz para la gente que no ha podido ser escuchada ni poder comunicarse con ellos. Este distrito está hecho de 75% de latinos y no hemos tenido la oportunidad de que nuestro board pueda comunicarse directamente con las familias, y es algo que a mí me interesaría mucho hacer. De nuevo, muchísimas gracias a todos y espero que podamos comunicarnos mejor. Again, thank you. My name is Brenda Marlene Gallegos, and I moved here from California when I was 4 years old. My parents are from Chihuahua, Mexico. My mother's from Belisario Domínguez, Chihuahua, and my dad is from El Paso, Texas. We moved here to Colorado, and we've called Colorado our home since I was 4 years old, so over 25 years, a little bit more. I graduated from Montbello High School in 2009. I own a vision clinic, and I also manage vision clinics for children throughout the city. I have 2 children in the district. I have 2 daughters. I have a daughter at Tennyson Knolls, and I also have a daughter at Westy High. I'm here because I want to be able to be the voice for this community. I want to be able for the board to reflect our community. It's 75% Hispanic, and I want to be able to talk to our community firsthand. Again, thank you guys for having me here, and thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this time we'll start. Let's start with Charles, and we'll go that way, and then we'll come back to you. The question is, if elected, how would you want to proceed in the recruitment and hiring of a new superintendent of schools? Charles.
Thank you. If elected, I feel that the recruitment of a superintendent for this district needs to be done the way any other job is done. We need to find out who's the best for this position. And that means the superintendent that is chosen needs to share the same vision that the school board shares. So there's no conflicts of interest and the plan can be implemented seamlessly. That I feel like that search needs to be handled on a national basis where we can draw from a diverse pool of candidates and truly determine who has the interests of the students, who shares our vision, and who truly represents what we want to do with the district.
Okay, thank you. Audrey.
When it comes to hiring a new superintendent, I think it's really important that we hire somebody who understands our competencies-based system. That is how all of our schools work. That's what our teachers teach in their classrooms every day. The competency-based system works. It works well. My children have flourished underneath that. And so we really need to look for somebody who understands that program, because it takes years to train to that program. Our teachers come in. It's not something anyone else is doing. We have to get them on board, we have to get them trained to that system, and then we see it put into action and we see it work. And so we need to look for a superintendent who really understands that. We're not taking years to train them as well about how CBS is a wonderful system, and they can just hit the ground running and keep going and keep us moving in the right direction.
Okay, Anthony,
Would you mind repeating the question?
I wouldn't mind. If elected, how would you want to proceed in the recruitment and hiring of a new superintendent of schools?
Thank you. When I ran 12 years ago, this was the same board that had to make that decision on what they were going to do with the superintendent. There was no national search, even though that's what I ran under. I feel when we pay someone $300,000 plus a year, I think our community deserves a national search. Yes, CBS is great. Our students all serve and are all educated within the system, but I feel like our community deserves the best person. They shouldn't be just appointed just because you served here. This national search, whether the best person is in-house or not, the community deserves the search.
Okay, Christine?
As a current board member and having been in conversations with multiple different superintendents from around the area, I think a national search would do us harm. The one time we did go out for a national search, it ended badly, and there are former board members in this room that can speak to that. We are a small community, and our community needs people that understands our community. Audrey had mentioned CBS, and we are hosting conferences where national, international people are coming to learn CBS from us. Are we going to train our national superintendent at this conference? Absolutely not. We need to stay internal. We need to look at what we have. We have bench strength. We have people that have lived and breathed this experience who are supported by the staff, and that is where our focus needs to be.
Okay. Brenda?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, I will. If elected, how would you want to proceed in the recruitment and hiring of a new superintendent of schools?
Yo pienso que la mejor idea para poder continuar y a encontrar un superintendent para nuestro distrito, yo creo que debemos hacer una encuesta para asegurarnos de que estemos encontrando la persona adecuada para nuestra comunidad, para nuestras escuelas y para nuestra gente. So yo creo que debemos de tener una encuesta para poder asegurarnos de que vamos a agarrar a la persona correcta. I feel like we should have a search, and we should make sure that we're finding the right person for our community, for our schools, and for our people, and somebody who's going to understand our demographics. So,
Okay. Mary Beth?
Well, I just went through this in Mapleton because we just hired a new superintendent because our superintendent, Charlotte, retired. And I think it's really important that there's somebody that reflects the values of the family and the community, somebody that already knows our system is best, and we want somebody that would be supported by the staff and would continue good things that Westminster Public Schools are doing. And I would not be interested in a national search. Those are usually very expensive, and they're not usually very successful. I know from searches that other districts have done that have been national, they are not successful and they are very expensive. So I would hope that we would look internally to find somebody that knows the system and that the staff would support.
Thank you. Next question, we'll start this time with, where did we start? Anthony? No, Charles. Okay. How would you expand and improve cooperative endeavors with Highland Hills Park and Recreation District? And I'm sorry, would it be the next person? Audrey.
So I have had kids that have both played in Highland Hills and part of the Westy Futures and Westy Juniors program. And I will say that my passion and what I like to do just for fun is I like to garden. And there is nothing like coming home and being able to make salsa from ingredients that I've grown. Growing my own things invokes an amount of pride in me, and it really ignites my spirit. And so when I look at the Westy Futures program, I look at it as we are home growing our own. We are creating students and that will look at themselves as being future wolves. We're igniting their school spirit. We're invoking pride in their system, in their school. So I love our Westie Juniors program, but I also garden at Clear Creek Valley Park. Highland Hills offers us so many resources that we can tap into. It's still a resource for our families if that's where they want to play sports. We just offer an addition to. So I think that we can do both things and have both things and just serve our families in a holistic way.
Okay. Anthony?
Yes, so I want to read you a passage I found in the district's archives about how the district saw this partnership between WPS and Highland Hills when they were endorsed support for a mill levy a few years ago. For more than 50 years, Highland Hills and the district have worked closely together to share resources, facilities, and programs. This partnership has avoided duplication of service and ensured opportunities for area children. When the district had to drop sports programs because of budget cuts, Highland Hills stepped in to provide athletic opportunities. It is essential that we bring Highland Hills back into the fold. We need them for after-school programming in addition to the already offered programs and summer programs. We encumber $850,000 to pay the Boys and Girls Club, which is at 3 schools. We need Highland Hills for additional and after-school summer programming within our facilities. Thank you.
Okay. Christine?
I do believe that partnerships are key to collaboration and moving everybody forward. It takes everybody to be involved and provide the services that we need to our students. However, the partnerships do need to be fair and benefit both sides. As a board member, it was very apparent that the partnership with Highland Hills was benefiting Highland Hills. Our facilities were being used for not our kids, and I had a problem with that. And as a community member, I experienced lack of organization and leadership from Highland Hills in the sports that were offered and in the summer camps that I went to, especially after some leadership changes happened where this isn't benefiting our community. So as a board member, I made the decision with our other board members to make a change, to provide services to our community. And I would be more than happy to go back to the table with Highland Hills, as we are, on other opportunities that we can provide that benefit them and our students.
Okay, Brenda?
Yo veo la comunicación con Highland Hills como un banco de tres, el distrito, la ciudad y Highland Hills. Yo creo que debemos de abrir los pasajes para poder ser unidos, para beneficiar nuestra comunidad y para poder tener los recursos que necesitamos para nuestra gente, para nuestras escuelas y para nuestros estudiantes. So a mí me gustaría mucho poder abrir de nuevo y poder ayudar y juntarnos y unirnos para el beneficio de nuestros niños, para poder tener más programas de los únicos que tenemos y los que nos están costando con Boys and Girls Club. Again, I was just saying, I see the unity with the Highlands Hills as a three-legged stool. The district, the city, and Highlands Hills. I feel like we should open that pathway so we can have more resources for our communities and for our students and for everyone around. So, yeah.
Okay. Mary Beth, did I ask you this?
No.
Okay, okay.
I know that there's been some discord, and I don't know a lot about it, but I would hope that the board could reach out and help mend some fences so that we could work well together, because working together is always better for everyone. And the goal really, my goal is always to do what's best for kids, and it's best for kids to have more opportunities, so.
Okay. Okay, we'll start. Didn't? Oh, okay. Charles, go ahead. I'm sorry, I got messed up here.
So if elected to the board, I would make it a priority to build the bridge with Highland Hills and the district. Just being part of the community my entire life, Highland Hills has always been the cornerstone. WPS has the facilities. Highland Hills has the expertise to offer the programs for the students that they need. There's 8,000 students in this community, and all of them need something to do. A bored student is a dangerous student, and we talk about mental health. We talk about kids doing things they're not supposed to out of school. Well, that's where Highland Hills steps in. They can offer those programs, after-school programs, community rec centers. When I grew up, most of my friends came from the community rec centers. That's how our community was established. I feel that this is a very critical relationship and partnership that needs to be emboldened and strengthened.
Audrey, did we ask you this question?
I just answered the
Okay, okay. All right, let's start this time with, let's start with Brenda.
Okay.
Okay. Recently, scores were released on math and reading proficiency, and WPS students have slipped in those ratings. What was your reaction, and what do you plan to do about them?
Yo estoy viendo lo que está pasando con los estudiantes con el aprendizaje de matemáticas y de leer. Y mi hija es víctima de esto. Ella la han dejado con este sistema que no avance y que no le ayuden a avanzar. Se está quedando donde está y no hay la motivación para ayudarla, para apoyarla, para que sea lo mejor. Esto para mí es muy personal porque yo creo que necesitamos unirnos para poder tener más tutores, más gente que nos puedan ayudar. Me gustaría mucho poder unirnos y abrir para poder tener más gente que nos ayude y voluntarios que nos ayuden a que nuestros hijos se superen. This topic hits very close to home to me because my child as well is a part of this, and she's failed, the system has failed her in a way, and I want to be able to open the pathways for the community and for more tutors to be able to help the struggling students to advance.
Okay. Mary Beth.
So as a teacher, I know that these scores really don't reflect what our students know. And when I look at the school accountability framework, I see that WPS has indeed been successful in educating students and moving them forward. Since CBS began, there has been marked improvement. When I look at the changes in the state ratings from 2010 to 2023, the differences are impressive. In 2010, the school ratings were performance, the highest rating, 1 school. Improvement, the second highest, 4 schools. Priority improvement, the third highest, 4 schools. And turnaround, the lowest, there were 5 schools. Looking at the 2023 preliminary ratings, performance, there were 9 schools. Improvement, there were 6 schools. Priority improvement, there was 1 school. And turnaround, there were 0 schools. So looking at these improvements, there is nothing that I would want to change. Students are not defined by a test that is taken on one day. And if I as a teacher have seen those tests, they do not measure what students are learning or what we are teaching.
Okay. Charles.
When the scores came out, I was shocked but not surprised. I've looked at, from the parent's point of view, we have very few data points to look at. We have the metrics from the CDE, and we have various other websites. And I agree, looking at a snapshot in time of test scores doesn't tell the whole story, doesn't tell the whole picture. But looking at snapshots over the course of 10 years, we start to see a pattern and a trend. That trend, in my opinion, has flatlined. The numbers don't lie. Now again, when I say this, I think I support CBS and the competency-based system, but I do believe that these scores show that there are some inherent flaws that would need to be remedied in order for us to see if CBS works when it's operating at peak level.
Okay. Audrey?
When I saw the CMAS slippage scores, I didn't think that it was a reflection of our students at all whatsoever. It's one assessment point. I just got done with my parent-teacher conference at 4 o'clock today, and I was given STAR testing, DIBELS testing, CMAS testing. I was given several data points of what my student was doing, and I know that that CMAS score does not reflect what they are doing in the classroom. That CMAS score is a zip code test. Depending on the ethnicity and the income level of your population, that dictates what your CMAS score is going to be. It is not an assessment test. It is a zip code test. Our fight isn't on this board. It's not in our boardroom. Our fight is at the Capitol for better assessments, for equitable assessments, and for an assessment test that reflects our community and our students. It is not in our boardroom.
Okay. Anthony?
Thank you. Yes, it's critical to state that a single test does not tell a whole story, but it is a crucial chapter in the year. We need to, grade these students on an international standard so that we can know how we're doing in the world. But what these tests do show is they do show the percent of students who are performing at grade level in their respective subjects. This is what they need to be they need to be at grade level in order to be successful in the next year. Two questions I would ask is what conditions create these outcomes? And two, we know students of color are fully capable of demonstrating and achieving success. So why are our systems not fostering their ability? You know, I've heard that in 2010, the grading system that we were at from priority to the turnaround, in 2010, the grading system was different than it is today. And I think it was like 2016, the state moved the goalposts so it was easier to score higher based on these numbers. Thank you.
Okay. Let's start this time with Christine. Oh, she didn't? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
So there is nothing standard about our children. Each child is unique and individual in their own rights. They have their own experiences, backgrounds, histories, and using a single standardized test created by white men to measure our kids and then rank our teachers is ridiculous. It's an abomination to teaching. It can be used as a data point, sure, and we have several data points, like Audrey mentioned, STARS, Renaissance, DIBELS, that we make a picture and we paint a whole circle of our students to understand what their needs are and to focus on those. One state test on one day is nothing. I think I look back to the time on the board when we were in COVID and we had all staff meetings and a senior was on the call and she said, wow, I got to learn about something because I didn't prepare for a test. That's what we're here to do, is to teach, not prepare kids to take a test.
Okay. Okay. Let's start with Anthony. In terms of continuing the current school board's current momentum, what in particular are you planning on continuing? And secondly, what do you hope to change?
Okay, thank you. One thing I would want to change, first off, would be the way that we treat our marginalized students. So I have a son with Down syndrome, and he was not able to attend school with his brother. And I was told he was not able to attend school with his brother based on resources. And mind you, he had been attending the same school for 2 years in preschool. He didn't even get a chance to go to kindergarten. You know, they didn't even give him a chance. So I had to pull my son out to put him in an inclusive classroom, and that's what I asked for. I asked the current board member that is running, what is the board or your position on DEI? She told me we focus on high-level policies. Next thing I know, a policy was changed to make it easier for a class pet to attend Colorado State Academy than my son with Down syndrome. So I would do everything I could for these students, because when we say students, I say all students.
Okay. Christine.
We have so much positive momentum happening. Our CTE programs are providing opportunities to students that are amazing. We honored a student the other night who had created a video game representing his heritage from Mexico that had won a national skills challenge, came in second. We've got kiddos going to South Korea for drone soccer. We're sending middle school kids to New York for their drone soccer programs. We're partnering with NASA to do aerospace weather testing, and then we're allowing our film students to go and showcase it. I want to keep running on all of these opportunities. We need more. How can we get all of the kids involved? The arts programs, we've got chalk art, we've got murals going up, we're painting under bridges. The Futures program and how we're expanding that. We're giving as many opportunities to our kiddos as we possibly can, and I want to continue to see that happen.
Okay. Brenda?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. In terms of continuing the current school board's current momentum, what in particular are you planning on continuing? And secondly, what do you hope to change?
Voy a empezar con lo que me gustaría cambiar. Me gustaría cambiar, abrir las oportunidades para que todos podamos comunicarnos. Se me hace que las comunicaciones y las formas de comunicaciones no están hechos para todo nuestro distrito ni para todas nuestras gentes. yo creo que la comunicación es lo más importante para todos los padres, saber qué es lo que más necesitan nuestros hijos. Eso es algo que es muy importante para mí, para que todos los padres y toda la gente pueda tener la misma comunicación para lo mejor de nuestros hijos. Again, one of the biggest things I think that we need to do is open the communication. And that is one of the main reasons why I'm running. I want to be able, for all of us, to be able to communicate with all of our parents and all of our students so everybody can be on the same page. I think there's a lot of good that's happening, but I feel like we really need to open the communication for everyone.
Okay, thank you. Charles? No, wait. Well, let's go to Mary Beth. Yeah.
As a former CTE teacher, I would like to continue the CTE programs. I would like to offer advanced courses in the pathways so that students can continue to learn and be job ready when they come out. I would also like to offer CTE classes to adults in the community that are interested. I think that's a great way to bring our community in. I would continue the CBS. I know that was successful for my child. That was special ed that really needed it, and it helped with her self-esteem, and she felt like a student that could achieve when she started that. I would like to continue to have the highest salary schedules. I know as a bargainer in another district, I was the bargaining chair, and we were always chasing WPS salary schedules, so I would continue those, and there's really nothing on my radar right now that I would like to change. I would like to learn more and get input on things that people think need to change before I would want to come in. I don't have an agenda to change anything.
Okay. Charles?
In terms of change, I think talking about what works, what doesn't work, I think that's the most important thing is collaboration. We have to collaborate with the community, with the parents, with the teachers, and with everyone across the board and figure out where are the problems, where are the hurdles that need to be overcome, and how do we overcome those? Because when we're deciding what works and what doesn't work, we have to remove these barriers. Otherwise, we're going to get a flawed conclusion. And for CBS, for example, with CBS, I believe in the potential. I think the theory behind it is very good. But I do feel that there are some inherent flaws, not necessarily enough to change, but enough to dig into it. And I think we have to change how we approach it and at least have the self-awareness to say, yes, this is a great system, but there are problems with it. Let's address it. Just like we're all Bronco fans in here. But we can say, you know what, as Bronco fans, we're not doing so hot. We can have those same issues at the same time. Thank you.
Okay. Audrey?
I believe that the current board is doing a fantastic job. We are moving in the right direction. We're doing what we need to be doing. We are servicing all of our students in the best way possible. I, at this point in time, am not a stranger to change, nor am I opposed to change, but I think that my leadership style could best be described in pivot. I think we keep our one foot in where we know we're doing well because we have so many things going for us. And then the other foot, when the opportunity arises and we see something that we can change, we pivot in that direction. We move that way to improve ourselves. But there's nothing that I would come in and say, overall change right now. Let's pivot. Let's keep doing what we're doing, but find opportunities for growth and move in that way. I don't have an agenda to come in and change things. I just have an agenda to work with our staff, our students, and our community.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going to move to the questions from the audience, and this is our first question, and we'll start with Mary Beth again. How do you feel about husband and wife on the board?
I really think that there are 5 board seats for a reason, and that's so that there are 5 distinct voices, and when there are 2 votes from one household, there are 4 people on the board, not 5.
Charles, do you want to answer this?
I'm one of the married ones. And I full on embrace the marriage. We embody what this district is. We're blended families. We're 2 people with 2 differing opinions. Most of the time we don't agree on things at the house. How do we get around that? We get around it through transparency, through dialogue, letting people know This is what we're deciding, but this is also why we're deciding it. That's how you remove the perception of bias and conflicts of interest.
Audrey?
I am uncomfortable with the notion of there being a husband and wife on the board of directors because we do take it down from a 5-seat board to a 4-seat board. And that's not a good representation of everybody. We have 2 people now that are going to talk about things. You talk about your life. Who doesn't go home and talk about what's going on? And then now we've created a dialogue that isn't happening in the board. It's happening at home. And then you get to come to the table with one voice. And it's just highly uncomfortable for me.
Okay. Anthony?
I'm glad this question was asked. I'm curious, whoever asked this question, if you're curious about how you feel about the nepotism and conflict of interest that are currently within the district. We have a superintendent, their daughter is a principal. We have a board member, his wife is a principal. We have board members' nephews that are assistant principals. So I'm curious if you're also curious about the nepotism and the conflict of interest when a board member is continually gets $1 million contracts every year and every year out because they know the other 4, when they recuse themselves, they're gonna get their contract. That is a conflict of interest. We disclose that conflict of interest with the Secretary of State every year. So if we're gonna talk conflict of interest, let's look at nepotism and let's look at the current practice of conflict of interest that the district is already going through.
Okay. Christine?
No, I don't think that a husband and wife should be on any board. It is a 5-seat board. Having a husband and wife limits that seat. There are personal issues that come up that shouldn't be at a board table. There are open meeting laws, and if you have more than 2 board members together and you're talking business, that is a public meeting that needs to be posted 24 hours before any meeting. So a husband and wife, you can't ever put another member together. You can't have a conversation with another board member because husband and wife, now you're 3, public. I don't agree with that. And people earn their positions in this district.
Brenda?
Hi, I'm another married one. Yo también soy la de la que están hablando porque estoy casada. Y esta pregunta me incomoda porque se me hace muy triste que piensen que yo no tengo una voz separada de mi esposo. Somos 2 personas muy diferentes, con opiniones muy distintas. Y se me hace que es una falta de respeto y muy feo de que nos quieran unar, que yo no tengo mi propia voz aparte de la de él. I'm glad you guys asked the question, but it's a little out of touch. It makes me feel as if it's questioned whether I have a voice of my own, and I sure do. Charles and I are 2 different people, and it feels a little sexist to think that I don't have my own voice separate from Charles. We are 2 different people, 2 different opinions, and I feel that we could all have our own space.
Hey. Thank you. All right. Let's, this one is directed to Christina, or Christine. What are your plans to address the issue of WPS's low test scores? By CDE standards, these have been historically low. This problem is systemic and complicated.
As I had mentioned earlier, test scores do not represent our students. A4PEP is an organization that is fighting against standardized tests. And one of the things that they have correlated is the percentage of free and reduced lunch, the percentage of English language learners, and the percentage of minorities. The higher that percentage, the lower your test score. It is a teeter-totter, period. As Audrey had mentioned earlier, this is a zip code test. So it's not about changing the test, it's about making an equitable test. There's nothing the district needs to do to modify what this test that is not equitable, that is only given in English to our higher population of minorities, free and reduced lunch, and English language learners. This does not represent who we are, what we are, and the fight is with the state to get this assessment to change and be fair.
Would anyone else like to comment? You don't have to, but
I hear this is a zip code test, but Westminster is not a cheap city to live in. It really isn't. When you look at CBS, if we want to say, let's scrape the test, right? If we look at the data of the surrounding districts around us, when we have a destination or a strategic plan, Destination 2030, and all of our peers beat us when we only look at a 5-mile radius. This is not a zip code test. When we look at just that circle, 5-mile radius, we are, if not last, second to last, in and out. Even Converse City beats us in some of these statistics. So what we need to do is, we know these kids can be successful. How do we foster that success to this test? We keep saying, we know these kids are free and reduced. We know these kids are ELL learners. What have we done about it? We've been saying the same thing over 12 years. What have we done about it?
hey, anybody else want to attack this? Yes.
What I would do, addressing low test scores, regardless of where you fall on that spectrum of fair versus not fair, I'll stand right there on the lines fighting for a more equitable test right along with everyone else. I do believe it needs to be more fair, but again, this is the law of the land. This is what these children, this is what's there for our children. And I think the answer lies in a robust PTO. I think if we establish a robust PTO, we build the relationship between the teachers and the parents, and we create standards. Let's lift the expectations for our students, but make the expectations clear. Just like any sport we play, the standards are clear. We need you to run 1.5 miles in X amount of time. Well, the kids will start to work toward that. But if they feel like they're floundering, and if the perception is that they don't know what they're doing this for, then why are they going to put their effort into it? That's what I would want to change.
So as an educator, I taught Algebra 2, and I would look the test that my students took, and the test that my students took was not an Algebra 2 test. There were questions on there that were pre-calc, that were trigonometry, that were calculus. So no matter what I was teaching my students in class, they were not testing on what my students were learning. If my students only spoke Spanish, they took the test in English. And yeah, math is easy if you speak Spanish, if you can do the math, but you have to understand what the directions are asking you to do. If the directions say specifically, write your answer in this box in English, and you only speak Spanish, and you don't know what that means, and you don't write your answer in the box, you don't get credit for that question. So I really think it's a testing issue. It is not an issue about our students not understanding or not learning.
Anybody else? Okay. This one. What is your position on cyberbullying, and what would you do to ensure that not only students, but faculty, staff, and administrators, as well as your peers on the board, are safe and protected? Let's start with Brenda.
I feel like, yo creo que este problema es algo que está muy presente en nuestras vidas, especialmente en esta comunidad, en este distrito. Y me gustaría poder enforzar más y poder asegurarnos de que nuestros hijos van a estar seguros. So sorry, just lost my train of thought. Pero sí, like I had said, I feel like our district and our community is a victim of cyberbullying, and with so much from everyone, from educators to students to staff to everyone. I feel like we need to open the pathways. There's so much hate in this world. Why are we going to continue to allow it in our schools and in our kids and in our homes? Again, I feel like opening communication with everyone, with parents and students, will be the right answer.
Okay. Christine?
I do think cyberbullying is a huge issue and something that we need to continue to focus on. I think that kids lead by examples, and adults can be some of the worst cyberbullies out there. I have never been banned from any type of social network, and there are people up here that have. That does not represent what we need to do and the behaviors we want our students to engage in. So part of addressing and enforcing cyberbullying is taking a look at how we behave as adults.
Thank you. So since probably March, I've been going to a lot of the PTOs of schools, and I think, I forgot the gentleman's name, but he was giving us examples of social media, the rights, the due rights, and that is something I think we need to show along even with parents. You know, we need to train parents that, one, students should only be on tablets and social media and all of their devices a certain amount of time so they can learn. At the same time, we need to make sure that we're monitoring our students so they don't end up growing to be cyberbullies. Education's key. So, you know, doing these workshops, expanding those PTO presentations that this young man did, and showing the community what is right and what's not right.
Audrey?
You know, cyberbullying is interesting because it's new technology, right? It's new to all of us in the room. I never thought I would be cyberbullied, but I definitely have been in the last few months. And so it's been interesting to sit on this side of it and find out what that feels like. You know, it's new technology. Our parents need to be educated about parental controls and really just what are guidelines? Like, what are we supposed to do in our house with our kids and these computers, you know? We need to talk about that. We need to talk about mental health. And I appreciate that WPS has controls built into their computers. So in our home, when my kids are on the Chromebook, it's a protected space. But what am I gonna do with their phone? That's a conversation for us to have as a family and to have some information about. But I also think we can talk about mental health and how we protect our kids when they are online and what we can do as a district to offer those services.
Okay. Charles?
Cyberbullying in general is bad. It's toxic. Social media brings out the most toxic traits of every person, and a lot of us are guilty of that. I myself have been victim to that, as well as probably perpetrating and saying things that probably aren't the best to say. As an adult, I own up to that. But also as an adult, I have to be self-aware and acknowledge that and press that onto the children. And only through education are we going to get to the bottom of social media and social bullying. I feel like that's going to be the most direct path to reach our students and to educate them as to what the toxicity actually is. I feel like we're so involved, we're so immersed in the toxicity 24 hours a day that sometimes we have to take a step back and see it for what it really is.
As an educator, I know a lot of that cyberbullying happens outside school at night when kids are on their phone and they're just, you know, being nasty. And we deal with it a lot in classrooms and at schools. And I know if I was a board member, I would ask the superintendent to reach out to the schools and ask them to find a bully-proofing program that works so that we can educate our students, because lots of times students that bully feel isolated and not welcome. And so how do we address all of the issues that go along with cyberbullying, not just the ugliness, and teach our students, like, you know, this is what you need to do, this is how you're a good person, and support them in the needs that they have. So I would ask that the staff find a bully-proofing program that schools can use, different levels that would support our students.
Okay, thank you. We have a lot more questions. We thought we would probably stop at 8 o'clock, and it's almost that time. So we have a couple more that we'll do, and then if we don't answer your question, you'll need to talk to your favorite school board candidate up here as they circulate. Hopefully they'll be able to stay for a few minutes and talk to you, and sorry we can't get to everything.
Good thing it's a school night.
Let's see. What is a recent WPS event that you have been to, and what was your takeaway? Let's see, let's start with Mary Beth.
We just did the parade. I never had a lot of opportunity to participate in school events because I was an educator and also a union leader, and so my days were 10, 12 hours, so my husband got all that fun. But we just did the parade a couple weeks ago, and it was so fun. It was amazing. It was great to see the kids and everybody out having a good time. So that's something that I participated in, and I loved it. I wasn't really interested. I said, oh, I'm not a parade kind of a person, but it really was fun, and I loved I think my favorite thing was seeing the kids on the sides of the road getting the candy. They were so excited. They had like Halloween bags full of candy. So that was really fun for me.
Okay. Anthony? Oh. Charles, sorry.
Same thing, last event was the parade, and I thought we killed it.
Okay, go ahead.
This one's, I'm trying to think because I feel like I'm in the schools every single day. Like I am constantly in a school. I didn't just show up and say I'm in Redford Board and then start going to things. It was just part of my life. We just are at schools all the time. I don't know if people are sick of seeing us, but we're there a lot. My recent one event was, like I said earlier, I went to a parent-teacher conference at 4 o'clock today. And my takeaway is that I love our teachers, and I love CBS. I go into a parent-teacher conference, and I get so many data points. I get feedback about behavior. I leave knowing that our teachers understand CBS and how they're implemented. If I have a concern, it is heard, and they will follow up all the time, believe me. I say, hey, what about this? And then pretty soon, the next day or like 2 days later, I'm at school again, and they're like, okay, wait, here we go. So that was my most thing.
Anthony?
Yes, so like Audrey, the most recent event was parent-teacher conferences. I went on Monday. Besides that, I went to the homecoming football game on Friday, which was an amazing game. Fortunately, we were able to pull out the win. And then after that was a mural painting at Colorado STEM Academy that my kids participated for 2 days in the event, which was an amazing. Michelle Music's out there somewhere. She has a good connection of artists, and she brings great things to our district regarding the art. So those were the last events I attended.
Christine?
One of the things I ran on the first time was that I wanted to be involved and at the schools. And oh my goodness, I am at the schools. I go to almost all of the different events that I can go to, concerts, arts, conferences, sporting events. The last event that really stands out to me that we had was a PTO-PTA roundtable. And it was bringing the heads of our PTOs and PTAs together, talking about how every PTO and PTA is there to put on fun events for the school and fundraise. And they are on an island. And how can we work as a group to get more support, share resources, and the excitement in that room is why I want to be on the board. Because I want to continue to help create those bridges and those connections so we can move forward and provide everything we need to for our kiddos.
El último evento que fui en ese distrito que participamos y se me hizo bien suave, que nunca fue algo que he sido parte de, fue el parade que hicimos, bien suave, que estuvo muy divertido, muchos niños, muchas familias. Fue muy bonito de ver la unidad de las escuelas y de toda la comunidad que se puso en los lados para agarrar dulces. Estuvo bien suave y muy bonito. Muy bonita experiencia para todos, para mis hijos, para mí, para nuestra comunidad. So estoy muy agradecida por eso y me la pasé muy bien. Again, I'm going to piggyback off of Mary Beth and Charles. I loved the parade. It was so much fun. It was something I had never been a part of. I didn't know there was just so much energy, so much unity and community, and the floats that all the schools had and everybody. It was so beautiful to see, and I absolutely loved it. So great. And if you didn't see it, get online and check it out. It was awesome.
Okay, this will be the last question. We'll start with Mary Beth again. What do you think a board member does?
What do I think a board member does? A board member does a lot of stuff. Their employee is a superintendent, so they work with the superintendent to create policy for the district. And they need to listen to their community, they need to listen to their staff, they need to listen to their superintendent, and they need to make decisions that are best for every student, every staff member, and their community. So it's a lot of listening and a lot of creating policy that's best for everyone. And it's not agenda-based. Like, board members should not have an agenda. The only agenda a board member should have is to do the best for every student they can, to make sure that every student gets the very best free, quality public education that they are entitled to.
Charles?
Yeah, pretty much, I pretty much agree. That was well said. We make board members make policies. They're the decision makers, but it's important that those decisions are conducted and those decisions are made based off collaboration, based off community input, based off teacher input, specifically teacher input and student input. The teachers are the ones that are molding our students, and our students are the ones that are going to benefit from this. And I feel like it's the job of the board members to make sure that they facilitate that and do what we can to move the district forward.
Audrey?
The board has one employee, and that's the superintendent, and so the board really has to work well with the superintendent, work closely with the superintendent, have a good relationship so that everybody can institute policy that is great for our students, great for our staff, great for our community. The board approves a budget, not a contract. The board also, sorry, I wrote some notes here. The board really just has to be there for the community, to hear what the community wants from their district and what students want from their district, and be able to give voice to that when we're making policies and keep that in mind. And so the board really has to just be able to communicate and work well and not be there for themselves and for what their family wants and that want only. They really have to be for everybody.
Okay. Anthony?
So most importantly, the board employs and evaluates, let's not forget evaluates, the superintendent. Second, they set budgets or approve budgets, but at the same time, they approve currently under current board policy contracts over $50,000. They approve policy or review policy, they set policy. Just in the last 2 board meetings, we had almost 30 policies updated that were antiquated. So that tells you about how much our board is staying on top of these policies. At the same time, you set the tone and the direction with the superintendent. And if I am a board member, you will not be working for me, I will be working for you, the community, the teachers, and the students. Thank you.
Okay. Christine?
The board's role is to really provide the leadership and steer the district in the direction that we're hoping to go on. And I think we do a good job of that. And I would say the comments and the implication of impropriety and corruption on this current board is despicable. It is not true. The board gets an audit every year. The district gets an audit, not the board, excuse me. The district is audited every year, which is a couple-month process. Since 2011, WPS has had a clean audit. Dan Orecchio, who is a current board member and owner of DAO Architecture, joined our team in 2012 as the district architect. He has done work, he has done amazing work, and he has benefited our community. He takes in students, he gives us discounts, he is a philanthropist, he is on multiple other boards. The fact that he is being said that we are corrupt and he is taking money and we are paying him is completely inaccurate and is misleading our community.
Brenda?
Can you repeat the question, please?
What do you think a board member does?
Yo creo que lo que hace un board member es tratar de unir la comunidad, hacer las decisiones correctas para los estudiantes, para como les digo, nuestra comunidad, nuestros estudiantes, y trata de hacerlo mejor con nuestras escuelas, con el dinero y con muchas otras cosas que ya han dicho, y no quiero repetir lo que han dicho los demás, pero a mí, una cosa que yo quiero poder cambiar es poder representar nuestra comunidad. Algo que el board no ha tenido es representación de nuestra comunidad. I feel that everybody said really good answers of what the board does, and I don't want to repeat what everybody says because I tend to repeat myself as well. But I feel that the board represents and works with our community, our students, and the teachers and the superintendent, and I feel that the board should represent our community. And I would really like to be able to represent that and firsthand be the Spanish liaison that the board has not had. So, yeah, thank you.
All right, the last thing we're going to do is do a 1-minute wrap-up. And you can promote yourself as much as you want to, and I think you just did that, Brenda. But, so we'll start with Brenda and add to that.
Okay. Quiero darle muchas gracias a todos los que están aquí presentes por estar escuchándonos y venir, también a la gente y nuestras familias y nuestros amigos que nos están viendo por el internet. Estoy muy agradecida de estar aquí. Estoy aquí porque quiero poder hacer el cambio, quiero poder ser la voz de nuestra gente latina que no ha estado representada. Les quiero pedirles a todos que por favor se registren a votar y que estén preparados para votar. Si tienen alguna pregunta, quieren saber más, no tengan miedo de comunicarse con nosotros o conmigo. Pueden verme en el abcforwps.com. Y estoy de nuevo, muchas gracias. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. And thank you guys for taking this opportunity to hear us. I know it's a school night for a lot of people and work day for everybody else, but thank you. I encourage everybody to register to vote. And I encourage everybody, if you have any questions, please reach out. You can look us up at you can look for me up on ABC for WPS. I am the B on ABC for WPS.
Christine?
In closing, I would like to emphasize how delighted I am to be on a part of a slate with these two smart, passionate women, Mary Beth Murphy and Audrey Llanos. And I am so proud of the campaign that we are running. We are parents. We understand the importance of providing educational opportunities that advance the successes of our students. Vote for us, vote for my, to ensure a better future for all students. Vote for my, and let's build on our district's positive momentum. We care, we will listen, we will make a difference. You can find more information about us at our websites. Vote MMY for WPS.com or Christine Martinez for WPS.com.
Okay. Yes, Anthony?
Thank you all first for taking the time out to come out tonight and hear from us. I would like also to thank the Adams County League of Voters, Gary Shea and the Heart of Westminster for setting up this forum so you can meet us and hear from us. What I would like to take you home with, our opposition's priorities, there are priorities. School safety, we have kids here. We want safe schools. CBS, we support it. Mental health, we're for it, and we're all for our teachers. But what we aren't for is for some of the practices that are taking place. Yes, we have clean audits. I do clean audits every year. That's what I do for my job. The auditors don't come in and test how corrupt you are. They look at your internal controls and they look about how well you're representing your numbers. I'm not talking about corruptness. I'm just talking about a conflict of interest when we are clearly disclosing that with the Colorado Secretary of State, when a board member has $1 million contracts, it's conflict of interest. Yes, they started in 2012. Where's the bids? Not saying there are any, but in their online bid portal, there are none. Thank you. Please vote for me.
Audrey?
I would appreciate your vote in November. It means the world to me to even have this opportunity. There was not a pathway for me to be here. And so for me just to sit at the seat and talk in front of you is, I'm just thankful from the bottom of my heart. So I would appreciate your vote. When I love something, I will protect it with the fierceness of a father and grow it with the love of a mother. And I love this district. And so I will continue to do that. I am so grateful, beyond words grateful, to be able to run with Christine Martinez and Mary Beth Murphy. Had a little connection to Christine before this, just worked on 4A with her, and did not know Mary Beth before this. But in June, we met, and we have spent so much time together. We work incredibly well together. We are a team that can come to the table and be an open ear and a loving heart and serve this community well.
As the CE of the ABC team, I want to thank everyone who attended this evening and those streaming online. I also want to thank all of the candidates up here for allowing me to share the table with you all. I think we all agree on one thing, that at the end of the day, this is for the students. I'm no politician. I'm simply a frustrated parent. As such, my responses tonight may not have been the most polished as others. That's why I encourage you all to reach out to me. Let's chat. Let me speak with time to better articulate why I believe our ideas are the best. Too many WPS school board elections have been canceled, and too often are people appointed seats. In a few weeks, the voters will finally have an opportunity to use the power of their vote. Do we continue on cruise control, hoping for the road to get easier? Or do we switch gears, hit the accelerator, and start moving this needle? It's time for a change. Our students are worth it. Our teachers are worth it. And if you're not registered, go to vote.org and get registered. It takes less than 2 minutes. Thank you.
I want to thank everyone here and online for taking the time to listen and for valuing our democratic process enough to learn about the WPS BOE candidates. Your vote matters, and I encourage you to vote, and I say that all the time as a union person. I am lucky to be running with two other amazing candidates that have the same goals, dreams for our students, and vision for WPS that I do. We are backed by WEAs, ESP, and licensed staff. We'll be solution-oriented BOE members. We'll be fact and data-driven, and we'll make decisions based on what is best for students, staff, and our community. Please vote MMY on November 7th.
Right, thank you. That concludes the formal forum. I'd like to invite you all just to stick around and meet and speak with the candidates there. We'd like to thank our guest moderator, Marge Ennis from Adams County League of Women Voters. You can give her a big hand. Candidates, if I could have you stand up. And please give our candidates a big round of applause. Give yourselves a hand, too. Thank you.